Good afternoon, everyone. I'll turn on my video and our sound as we get ready to get started. In a moment, I'll share my screen. Hello, and good to see you. We have Germaine and Sylvain, almost complete, and Edward sending me some messages via WhatsApp, and we'll be here in just a moment. So we have a very, very quick session today. We have 6 talks, 10 minutes each, in which we, the spirit of the session is innovation platforms. But first and foremost, welcome to Sustainable Places. Let me share my screen. Or then, if you can give me a confirmation that we're in full presentation mode.
Yes.
Great, thanks so much. And I'll start my timer for 10 minutes to make sure we don't go too long, because we want to finish in time to allow the afternoon workshops to get started or get themselves set at about 15:20. So welcome to Sustainable Places. It's a pleasure to be here. A lot of preparation into this event, a lot of courage to do an in-person event. I'm Thomas Mazurvi, the CEO of R2M Solution and co-organizer of Sustainable Places. Welcome. The challenge and opportunity: there's no need for a lecture on climate change. The opportunity are better buildings. The thing that concerns us is it seems that things get worse. It seems we're not handing off a better planet to our children, and it takes a long time to get actions done. There's a lot of talk, but getting implementations is tough. So this conference tries to facilitate networking and move toward implementation. We have a rich history. It's the 9th edition. It started in Nice, France in 2013 and 14 by the clustering of 2 projects, 30, 40, 50 people. And over time, in 2015 in Savona, 2016 hosted by Novatech, 2017 hosted by Teesside, 2018 and 20 at Isle-les-Bains, although 2020 virtual, in 2019 in Calgary. And each time we've done the event, it's grown in participation and the number of projects. And last year we had about 500 attendees join us fully virtually, about 100 projects that participated, over 30 sessions more or less, and 4 sponsorships. And last year we talked about the Green Deal and New EU Bauhaus as a couple focus areas amongst many other areas. So this year at Sustainable Places 2021, we have approximately 600 attendees registered into the Jing system at the moment, and this increases each day. We have about 150 projects representing almost €1 billion of European R&D clustering at this event, over 35 sessions and workshops. We have 9 sponsorships and 2 partnerships this year. And we talk some specialized focuses about Built for People, digital logbooks, FIT455 today, the SRI, the Green Deal, and many other topics. I need to ask someone to mute. That's likely one of the speakers. Pictured is the Palazzo dei Congressi. That's the venue in Rome, and our partnership there is with Eurospa, which manages many of the cultural heritage structures in the Rome area. So it's very special to be partnered with them. The event is organized by R2M Solution, PPAN, Communication and Networking, also in partnership, as mentioned, with EBR. And we have a great set of patrons this year, to include the City of Rome for the free portion of the event on Thursday and Friday, and the others that are pictured there. Some embassies, GBC Italia, the Kyoto Club, our orders of engineers, engineering professionals here in Italy. So it's very nice, the support that we have, to include our sponsors. And the sponsors are very interesting because they represent some of the key themes in the event: digitalization, BIM, artificial intelligence, digital twins and energy simulation software, digital cameras for scan to BIM, Axpo's utility on energy communities and energy and renewables overall, GaiaGo, a platform for planning EV, grid ability, a turnkey solutions provider for energy communities, an Artelia and a real estate major. And we also have a technical sponsor giving us some equipment on site, Stay Green, and a twinning event with All for Climate and Pre-COP 26 in Milan during these days. So it's very great. We sent out a welcome message this morning through the Hopin platform, and it on the backside has the agenda. We'll see that in a moment. And some of the key themes in there is it's a specific decision to be hybrid this year, to be also in person, one of the first in-person events towards getting back to normal. And that takes some effort. We put in that effort, and it'll be great to see people starting tomorrow. We designed the event considering COVID. That's why we're in a giant conference center. We're going to have plenty of space. We'll feel almost as if we're empty in that structure, but it's to have the space required for social distancing. So we'll be able to respect that. Thursday and Friday, we'll have national roundtable discussions. This is new to Sustainable Places, and it's a deliberate effort to get closer to the market, because these people that are coming in for that event are not the typical audience that attends R&D events or is used to EU clustering. And we're deliberately, our venue is in a district transitioning to become a smart district. So it's very interesting to pair our scientific conference with the energy transition of a conference, or not of a conference, but of the venue. The national plenaries, if you haven't seen the agendas, take a look. They're quite interesting. And the speakers that we have aligned for those are very interesting speakers. And it will be streamed live and translated using professional AV support. So it will be translated into English and accessible to all of our audience members. Something that is different this year is we have media coverage through our media partner. So we have a live event happening on LinkedIn. We've been in the newspaper, a full page spread, and also today in Sole 24, there's an article that the 9th edition of Sustainable Places is kicking off in Rome. So this is quite special for us. And on site, we'll be having interviews, daily press briefings. We expect between 30 and 40 visits from media professionals. Afterwards, we'll be producing a post-event book. So the workshops will be captured, the presentations will be captured. And then we have digital booths on Hopin. So increased media support. Our program overview is on the back side of the welcome and agenda briefing. I encourage you to take a look at that. And it has QR codes that point to the various agendas. And also, I would encourage you to follow us on social media at Sustainable Places and follow and tag us. So although we're doing some things different this year, the biggest thing we're doing is the same, and that's the clustering of EU projects. And here are the logos of the assembled projects, about 150. And the workshop organization and preparation this year has been excellent. And we very much thank all of those workshop organizers and the speakers involved. So although we incorporate national roundtables as we try to bring more market players to our audience, we very much realize the value of our core audience. So let me transition to today's opening session. It has a theme, it's policy and innovation platforms. So we want to provide quick pushes of information, quick 10-minute talks that are useful, that may be of interest to our audience to then go get more information. So any one of these talks could be 20, 30, 40 minutes, but that's not the intent. The intent is simply to motivate the arguments and then move on to the next speech. So first, we'll hear from Sylvain Robert at Chinea, Unit C2, talking about opportunities for research and innovation in sustainable buildings in Horizon Europe. Then we have a different speaker. It will be Carlos joining us from DG Energy, Unit B2. Pierluca wrote this morning he had a slight health issue, so he won't be able to join us, but his colleague has accepted to join us. Thank you. And we'll be presenting on buildings in the FIT455 Package and European Green Deal Energy Policy Update. Then we'll hear from Alain Zarli, the Secretary General of the European Construction Technology Platform, and he'll be talking to us about the ECTP as an innovation driver for activating innovation and the Built for People partnership and the Smart Built for EU project. So pointers for information on the ECTP. Then Germaine Adel, the Deputy Director of Nobitech, INF4, will be talking to us about innovation support, open innovation platforms to SMEs by meta-clustering and pointing to the Metabuilding project and Metabuilding Labs projects. And then lastly, Eduardo Loscos, R&D Manager of IDP Engineering and the President of the Building Digital Twin Association, will be talking to us about the Building Digital Twin Association and how people can become involved in that. So without further ado, we have a great set of speakers, and we'll kick that off. Let's get started to Sustainable Places 2021. Thanks everyone for being here. So I'll stop sharing the screen, and so then I'll turn it over to you.
Sorry, I had a small issue. I'm going to share again. Hello, everyone. So yes, it's a big pleasure to be with you today for this conference, which indeed, as Thomas mentioned, is growing every year, and it's really. I'm very glad to see all the interest that this event is attracting in the community. So thanks for having me today. I'm Sylvain Robert. I'm project manager in CINEA. CINEA is the European Climate, Infrastructure and Environment Executive Agency. I work more precisely in the Horizon Europe Energy Unit, which is responsible for implementing the energy calls of the Horizon Europe program. And in that unit, I'm more specifically with the energy efficiency team. In this presentation, that is going to be brief, as Thomas mentioned, I will briefly introduce you to Destination 4 of Horizon Europe's Cluster 5. This destination is basically the component of the Horizon Europe program that addresses energy efficiency and sustainability of buildings. So most of you, and probably all of you, are quite familiar already with Horizon Europe, and in particular with Cluster 5. Nevertheless, in case there are people who are new to some extent to this program, I wish to remind some general information. So Horizon Europe is a program dedicated to the financing of EU research and innovation, and it applies to the 2021-2027 period. It covers a very broad range of actions and a wide thematic scope to address three main challenges, which are the fight against climate change, the achievement of sustainable development goals, and the reinforcement of the union's competitiveness and growth. So as you can see on this slide, for its main part, the program is structured into three main pillars. One for excellent science, which focuses on upstream research actions. The second one on competitiveness and global challenges. The actions in that second pillar are closer to the market, and they aim at delivering the technologies and solutions that support EU policies and related objectives. And the third pillar is aimed at fostering all forms of innovation, including breakthrough innovation and market deployment of innovative solutions. In terms of budget, the program is close to 100 billion euros that is allocated over its duration. This includes an exceptional contribution from the Economic Recovery Instrument Next Generation EU. And as you can see, the budget distribution illustrates well the importance of Pillar 2, which represents more than 50% of the budget. You certainly know that, or you've heard that Horizon Europe is the successor of H2020. And indeed, the two programs have some similarities, but there are also some novelties in Horizon Europe. One is the European Innovation Council, which combines support to research on emerging technologies, an accelerator pilot project, and a dedicated fund. So the aim of this specific instrument is to accelerate the growth of SMEs and innovative startups. And there is also in Horizon Europe 5 missions to address some key global challenges. These missions will rely on a portfolio of actions, such as research projects, policy measures, and even legislative initiatives, in order to address with the right ambition 5 key areas, which are the cure of cancer, adaptation to climate change, healthy oceans, climate neutral and smart cities, and soil, health, and food. Let's take a closer look at Cluster 5 now. This cluster addresses energy, climate, and mobility. It has 6 destinations. Each of these destinations basically corresponds to one thematic area. And these are climate science, cross-cutting solutions, energy supply, energy demand, clean and competitive transport solutions, and transport and smart mobility services. As you can see, there can be several research priorities in a given destination. And for instance, in the destination we are focusing more on today, in destination 4, the focus is both on buildings and on industry. From a budget perspective, Cluster 5 is an important element of Pillar 2 of the program, with around 15 billion euros over the duration of the program and more than 3 billion euros only for the 2 first years, 2021-2022. The biggest area in Cluster 5 is the one of energy supply, with more than 1.2 billion in 2021-2022, and Destination 4 on energy use has a budget close to 250 million euros for the same period. Now, Destination 4 is really about the energy demand side. So it's essentially about a more efficient use of energy as regards buildings and industry. The destination has been designed to support the transition to a decentralized and climate neutral energy system, and to ensure buildings and industrial facilities become interactive elements of the energy system, and also to support the development of new business opportunities and revenue streams for innovative energy services. The destination contributes to several key strategic orientations in relation to digitalization, circular economy, and climate neutrality. It also covers several impact areas in relation to industrial leadership, affordable and clean energy, and circular and clean economy. And as I was mentioning, this destination includes 2 areas of action. The first one, focusing on buildings, is highly energy efficient and climate neutral European building stock. So this area addresses the technological and socio-economic breakthrough for achieving climate neutrality and the transition to zero pollution of the building stock by 2050. This is based on inclusive and people-centric research and innovation. And the second area is industrial facilities in the energy transition, which addresses the enhancement of energy efficiency in industry and the reduction of greenhouse gas and air pollutant emissions through recovery, upgrade, and conversion of industrial waste heat and electrification of heat generation. The first area on buildings, so called highly energy efficient and climate neutral European building stock, has strong connections to some key policy initiatives that my colleague from DG Energy is going to introduce you to in the subsequent presentation. The main initiative related to this area is the Renovation Wave, which is part of the Green Deal. Basically, the aim of this initiative is to set the momentum in public policies and funding support for the transformation of the EU building stock towards climate neutrality in 2050. You will have more details in the next presentation. Another key initiative is the new European Bauhaus, which aim is to ensure that a sustainable built environment goes beyond merely improving energy and resource efficiency, but also includes a qualitative, aesthetic, and strong human dimension. With these overarching initiatives in mind, this area on buildings is in Destination 4 addresses two main challenges. The first is the energy challenge in buildings, and the second is more broadly the transformation of the built environment towards more sustainable living. The first challenge, which targets essentially energy efficiency in buildings, seeks to achieve more energy efficient building stocks supported by an accurate understanding of buildings performance, and also building stocks that combine energy efficiency, renewable energy sources, and digital and smart technologies in order to support the transition of the energy system towards climate neutrality. And the second challenge, which is broader, addresses the transformation of the built environment, and it's built on a co-programmed European partnership that has been briefly mentioned by Tom, on people-centric sustainable built environment that is called Build for People. And it targets the two main impacts, which are higher buildings performances with lower environmental impacts through increased rates of holistic renovations. And the second one is higher quality and more affordable built environments, preserving climate and environment and safeguarding cultural heritage and ensuring better living conditions. So I guess
1 or 2 minutes, please.
Sorry?
1 or 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, it's basically almost the end of my presentation. Thanks, Tom, for the reminder. And let me highlight very briefly in this slide the Build for People partnership. So it's a co-program partnership under Horizon Europe. This means it is a setup by which the Commission and the partners from the private and public sectors can work jointly on a common research and innovation roadmap. It's a partnership about innovation for people-centric sustainable built environment. It will allow for close collaboration between the Commission and the broad community of partners. And it will allow to increase the impacts of the projects implemented under the partnership. And it covers a broad range of challenges that translate into climate, environment, and socio-economic objectives. And one important objective is to set up a European network of innovation clusters to boost demonstration and replication of innovation. And there is also a strong connection to the policy framework and a clear alignment with the key initiatives that I've mentioned. The EU funding is in the range of 380 million euros with an expected contribution from the partners in the same range. And so now the partnership is basically starting. The memorandum of understanding is signed and it's entering its first phase for implementation. And we just hope that you will join us on this journey. And you can turn for this purpose to the two associations that work with the Commission on this partnership, which are the ECTP and the World Green Building Council. Well, before closing this presentation, just to draw your attention to the three topics that opened this month and which are implemented under this partnership. These topics include two calls for innovation actions on buildings, on solutions for buildings with performance guarantees and sustainable prefabricated holistic renovation packages. And there is also one coordination and support action topic for innovation uptake in the built environment sector. So if you're interested, you can consult the funding portal for more details. Voilà, that was all for this presentation, and thanks a lot for your attention.
Thank you, Sylvain. I know that's fast. Sylvain will be followed by his colleague at the European Commission, is Carlos Sanchez, who will talk about the FIT455. Carlos, if you'd like, you can share your screen. Otherwise, I can also share from my computer if you prefer
that. If you have the presentation, then I think it will be even better if you can just present it by yourself.
Sure, I can.
Is it possible?
Yes, it's possible. I have the presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And good afternoon to everyone. Sushi, I'm not Pierluca Merola, because unfortunately Pierluca has had the small health issue today, but prevented him to be here today. So basically, I'm stepping in from Pierluca. I will try to do my best. So my name is Carlos Sanchez Rivero, and I'm the team leader of the energy efficiency finance team in DG Ener, unit B2, that we are the energy efficiency unit. So I've been tasked to give you an energy policy update. So if we can go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So I will start now with the beginning, that I think it is the European Green Deal, because it is the wide policy context. You know that the Green Deal is really top policy priority of the European Commission, and it's aiming at making Europe the first climate neutral continent by 2050. And this is not just a vision, but it is really the new European growth strategy. It is really a roadmap for making Europe the economy, sustainable real economy, and turning climate and environmental challenges into opportunities across all policy areas that you may see in this slide, and also very importantly as well, making the transition just and inclusive for all of us, for all the Europeans. So if we go please to the next slide. Yeah, so it is really now clear that one of the most important challenges that we have in this century is really moving from a fossil fuel based economy towards a clean energy system, right, and a carbon neutral economy. And in that framework, the climate target plan that was published by the Commission in the last September 2020, so basically that the proposed 55% target by 2030, first of all, is feasible, it can be achieved. Second, will put us in the right trajectory towards climate neutrality, and additional point, requires effort and a contribution of all the sectors of the economy. So it is really joint effort of the whole economy. This climate target plan prepared the ground for the necessary transformation of policies for the decarbonization of the European economy, and for the binding provisions that are set out in the European climate law that was adopted by the Parliament and the Council in June 21. So in a nutshell, it sets as a binding 2030 target to achieve the 55% greenhouse gases emission reduction. It also set the process for setting a climate target for 2040, and also it contains the commitment of the EU towards climate neutral negative emissions by 2050. So please, next slide. Yeah, and then it wanted to focus a bit on the buildings sector, because it is crucial for the climate transition in Europe. In fact, buildings are responsible for 40% of the total energy consumption. You can see here how important is as well in terms of in our economy, actually, the construction sector. It accounts for almost 10% of the EU gross value added. It employed really substantial amount of Europeans, 25 million jobs, and also generate 36% of operational greenhouse gases emissions. Effective action for building renovation is really crucial, as only 1% of the buildings take any type of a renovation every year. Also taking into consideration that 75% of the building stock in Europe is inefficient. And also the last point important in the formula is that 85% to 95% of today's buildings will still be used in 2050. So we need to react and to act on the building stock, right? So therefore, by 2030, here we present a number of figures that are pretty much connected with my next slide. So if we can go to that next slide, please. It is indeed the renovation wave. So last October 14, 2020, the Commission presented its renovation wave strategy, and it basically has let's say two main objectives. First of all, double the renovation rates for in the next 10 years by 2030. And second, making sure that renovations lead to higher energy and resource efficiency. So basically, to really support deep renovations. No, those are the two main objectives of the renovation wave that are extremely challenging ones, because, well, I have presented before a bit what is the importance of the construction sector. So you can imagine how what it is the impact of trying to achieve these objectives. No, if I can give you some figures in terms of financing, it was estimated that 275 billion euros will be needed per year to deliver on our objectives. So yeah, I mean, we can. I mean, here in the presentation, you may see a bit. You see a bit where we are in the status quo. I mean, why it is also so difficult. It's not only because we need to double the renovation rates. It's also because we have really quite a lot of barriers, and this is clear when we look into the market. No, please, if we go to the next slide. I will just jump into the FIT455 package. So, I mean, you know, the answer to the substantial challenge of the climate transition of our society, of our economy, is the European Green Deal. I've mentioned the European Green Deal before as really the top priority for the Commission, the new growth strategy, and because the European Green Deal includes really impressive catalog of really legislative measures, but also financial resources associated to them. So on the last July 14, the Commission adopted the FIT455 Package, or European Green Package, and it comprises a set of interconnected initiatives to translate the European Green Deal into the different areas of our economy, of our life. So I can give you, for instance, some examples such as energy production, buildings, transport, industry, etc., etc. It details sectoral targets on energy efficiency, on renewables, to achieve the 55% greenhouse gases emission reduction I mentioned before in the European Climate Law. And of course, introduces and update or strengthen regulatory measures to incentivize the transformation. So please, next slide. When it comes to the area of energy, that it is definitely key in the climate transition, because 75% of the energy use and consumption is contributing. I mean, energy is contributing 75% to the targets. Therefore, the European Green Deal contains a very strong package on energy. You know, so we have here in the slide we have indicated four main initiatives that are part of the FIT455 package, and that include the recast of the Energy Efficiency Directive, the proposal for the review of the Renewable Energy Directive, strengthening its targets, and also with a stronger focus on district heating and cooling, as well in buildings, the review of the APBD, that I will mention that in the next slide, and also quite important as well, the proposal to extend the emissions trading scheme to other sectors, including the building sector. I will also say that as a accompanying measure of the emission trading scheme, we'll also have the social climate fund that would be addressing the social challenges and financing challenges that this climate transition may pose. So with regard to the review of the Energy Efficiency Directive, basically the proposal set and strengthen energy efficiency goal for 2030 with a mandatory EU target in order to achieve this 36-39% reduction in energy consumptions. The introduction in the regulatory proposal, basically, of the energy efficiency first principle, so that energy efficiency is taken into consideration when investment decisions are made, and other important element that I wanted to highlight here was the really stronger role of the concept of public buildings with an exemplary role. No, that's you know, in a way, and in a nutshell, some of the key main elements addressing energy in the package was presented in July. So if we go to the next slide on the review of the APBD directive. Yes, well, the revision of the APBD was announced in the Renovation Wave strategy. I mentioned that before, and it will come as the second step of the FIT455 package, and the proposal is expected to be adopted by the Commission by the end of the year, so by December 2021. On the main features that the proposal for the review may include, I would like to mention these that are listed here. The proposal to introduce the mandatory minimum energy performance standards in the APBD. Also, the revision of the provisions on the energy performance certificates, including metrics related to greenhouse gases emissions. Proposal on the building renovation passports and deep renovation definition, together with the introduction of net zero emission buildings for new buildings. I think I would say that in these two elements, the research and innovation angle is definitely key. Finally, the adoption, as I mentioned before, is expected for the end of 2021. Basically, the review of the APBD is aiming at somehow setting the regulatory framework enabling the Renovation Wave objectives to be fulfilled by 2030. And if we go to the next slide, and just entering into the final 2 slides of my presentation, as I said before, the European Green Deal contains really strong legislative proposals, but it is also accompanied by very strong financing measures. And this is indeed a very good opportunity for energy efficiency, because in the context of the next generation EU, so this is the recovery package and the multi-annual financial framework 21-27, we are talking about in total 1.8 trillion euros. So what it is important here is to indicate that 30% of this amount, that equals more or less, it is around 550 billion, will have to be spent on climate mainstreaming actions. So that means that really resources that will be dedicated to the climate actions are more than double compared with the previous period, the 14-20. And when we talk in particular about energy efficiency measures, I think we can even go farther than that. No, it will be even more than double. And I will try to explain why, because now you know that the recovery and resilience plans are already there. Most of the plans has been already submitted by the member states. A substantial part of them have been already adopted by the respective council decisions. So basically, the recovery and resilience money that it is going to channel most of the recovery package is going to channel around 672 billion euros of loans and grants. This money is coming, and the implementation phase of this money is starting now. So the good news when it comes to basically energy efficiency and building renovation is that most of the plans that we have seen from the member states contains very strong renovate and energy efficiency components, and they really represent quite a significant share of the mandatory 37% climate-related investments. Basically, that will make the recovery resilience facility the main EU source of funding for building renovation and for energy efficiency in the next 7 years. And as I said before, it will increase multiple times the support for energy efficiency compared to the previous MFF. So therefore, there will be quite.
Carlos, if we, I just need to ask you to finish up. We're running a little bit over.
Sure. Yeah, it is 1 more minute, and I will just conclude. Yeah, a couple of additional elements here. It is on the positive impacts on the recovery, creation of local jobs and sustainable growth. But also, I think another element that Piluca mentioned here was important, that the dialogues that we have had with the member states in raising ambitions of the programs. It is not only in terms of size, it is not only in terms of size, as I said, but also in terms of achieving a minimum energy savings, in terms of achieving at least 30% energy savings. So if we go to the last slide, and I will read very shortly here. Here you may see a mapping that it is somehow extracted from the annex of the Renovation Wave communication. It is the support from the EU budget to unlock investment into building renovation under the Renovation Wave. So I just invite you to consult the document, because it provides not only the mapping but good practice examples. You see 5 main areas of investment depending on the operational goal: direct investments, leverage private investments, research and innovation, addressing market barriers, and technical assistance and advisory support. So these 5 pillars are essential, and in our context today, of course, very important to highlight the support for research and innovation in the framework of Horizon Europe, with the Build for People, European Green Deal calls, and also smart cities. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Carlos, and sorry to push you. As I mentioned, we could speak these topics for a long time. And it's both for Sylvain and Carlos, thanks so much. It means a lot to have commission representation at this event. So thanks for taking time out of your schedule to be with us. Next, we'll be joined by Alain Zarli from the ECTP. And this is a liaison between the European Commission and the research bodies and then the market. So Alain, it's great to have you with us, and I turn the floor over to you.
Thank you very much, Tom. Very good afternoon to everybody, and greetings to all from my hotel room in Rome already. Well, in less than 10 minutes, I will try to give a quick snapshot on what is ECTP and what we're doing precisely, with a focus, of course, on research and innovation. And indeed, ECTP is a European platform that has been created in 2004, targeting the main challenges related to the construction sector and the built environment. And indeed, it groups more than 140 member organizations from the construction sector and the whole value chain and the whole supply chain in Europe, including, of course, all types of stakeholders. This means, of course, academics, research center, the industry as well, SMEs, associations, and so on and so forth. And definitely ECTP is the main instrument and the lobbying force in Europe towards research, development, and innovation strategies to improve overall the competitiveness of the construction sector. So our objective indeed is to federate those actors to cooperate, innovate, to implement innovation and technologies, and at the end of the day, to reach, of course, the impact. Well, ECTP indeed covers in a very broad way, all the various aspects of technology innovation for the construction sector. And this is reflected into a division indeed of what we elaborate through a set of well-identified committees, 6 committees. And we have also a large coverage, which is represented by a network of construction NTPs, which is, by the way, coordinated by Novatech and by Germain, who will have a nice presentation after mine. And one of the role of ECTP over the last decade has been indeed to oversee the management of the EBPPP, the Energy Efficient Building PPP, and the upcoming Build for People partnership, which has been nicely introduced by Sylvain in his presentation. And I'll be back to that point then later on. But what is important is that, well, ECTP is really at the heart of a very important ecosystem. And in particular, as I mentioned to you, it's really lobbying force, and we work very, very closely with many other associations and initiatives, and also with many, many units and DGs from the European Commission. So one of our objectives, of course, is to elaborate with all our stakeholders, but also with all those other associations that I mentioned previously, a vision, have a foresight and a vision on what is what are the next objectives and research and innovation priorities for the construction sector and for the built environment as a whole. And this, for instance, in particular, leads us to work out with all our stakeholders and friends, for instance, a strategic research and innovation agenda that has been established at the end of 2019 for 7 years, but we plan, I would say, after 3 years, we will plan to have a review of it in terms of all those research and innovation priorities I was referring to. And this has led to a document of approximately 8 pages, which are a fundamental basis, of course, for us also in our discussions with the various DGs in the European Commission. So the role of ECTP, in a nutshell, is really trying to influencing innovation and strategic research. And doing so, we participate in the definition of European strategic research agendas, and we interact with many of those units and DGs in the European Commission. We have close links with them. We try, of course, to federate knowledge, resource, and expertise with respect to all those actors in Europe dedicated to research and innovation. And we try to offer opportunities for networking and meeting potential partners, including, for instance, for research partners. So the role of ECTP is try to federate the view, the vision, and the efforts of the construction stakeholders in Europe. We do it in several domains. One of them is definitely represented by this main initiative that is now about to be launched, which is a Build for People partnership, which is a co-program partnership. It's kind of a follow-up of EEB, but it's more ambitious. It's about decarbonizing, but at the same time, ensuring sustainability and better living for the built environment, and having all the actors of the built environment value chain. And what we really want is to have, on one side, a real penetration of innovation on the market, and on the other end, having a long-lasting transformation and behavioral change of the building assets and the users. So it's indeed coordinated by ECTP and the World Green Building Council on one side, and we are interacting with indeed 9 DGs and 12 units in those DGs. And well, I'm not, of course, going into the details of this complex picture, but you can see that there are quite some large objectives and corresponding outcomes that really cover a very broad ambition for the Build for People partnership. It's about, of course, the clean energy transition and the decarbonization pathways, but it's also to have, for instance, those objectives supported by sustainable circular business and value chain, as well as, for instance, appropriate business models to support this. So I invite you, if you're interested, of course, to get more into the details of this ambition of Build for People. Where we are, well, I would say that in a nutshell, the partnership has been now established. It has been signed by ECTP and the World Green Building Council, and the European Commission is now close to sign it. And the next step is to fine-tune the strategic research and innovation of Build for People and start the real operation of Build for People through a first meeting of the Build for People Partnership Board. And we are already planning a future first plenary stakeholders forum where all of you can contribute and participate, probably in the first semester of 2022. Another initiative is really around smartness of buildings. And this is related to the Smart Buildings Initiative and project. It's indeed, once again, a project which tries to federate many, many stakeholders in Europe around this concept of smart buildings. So the objective in that case of the ECTP, which is the coordinator of this initiative, is first and foremost to map and consolidate the smart building innovation community and try to, as much as possible, reference and promote key innovators and innovation for our future smart buildings, to try to have this knowledge sharing and supporting activities for the smart building innovation community. In a nutshell, having those people sharing their knowledge, their view, their idea, their expertise. Try also, and this is related to the EPBD, try to contribute to the promotion, experimentation, and rollout of the SRI, the Smart Readiness Indicator, which is a key part of the future EPBD and at the base for the smart building business case. And this is really at the heart of this initiative. And then what we plan to do is, at the end of the day, to have a research and innovation roadmap and policy recommendations, hopefully by 1 year, 1.5 years, in order to have a clear strategic agenda and pathway towards smart building in the future. If you want to be involved in, you can link with partners and link third parties which are participating directly to this initiative. I invite you also to participate to our Smart Buildings Defining R&I Priority Hybrid Workshop at this conference. That will be tomorrow afternoon. And you have many ways, of course, to join and follow the work done by the community through in particular the project website, the LinkedIn, and the Smart and the Twitter account. So roughly, this was just to introduce you to some of the main initiatives. There are other ones, and yet another one will be introduced now very soon by Germain in his presentation. But in all cases, you can get more information at our website. Get in touch with myself or Alexi, who is working with me. And I invite you as well to participate to the next ECTP conference on the 2nd and 3rd of December 2021. And I guess that I've been just in 10 minutes doing my job. Thank you very much.
Perfect timing, Alain. I want to applaud. And thanks for that. So the ECTP, an association between the Commission and projects, and now we'll hear from 2 projects that are in themselves innovation platforms. So the first one will be Germain Adel from Novatech talking to us about open innovation, meta-clustering, and the Metabuilding and Metabuilding Labs projects. Germain, take it away. Share your screen.
Thank you, Tom. Can you hear me?
Just fine, yes.
Okay, thank you, Alain. Also, it's nice. It's nice to really have been scheduled after you, Alain, because your focus on ECTP is very useful as an introduction for what I am going to present. So can you see my screen now?
We do.
Okay. So here we go. So I'm Germain Adel from Novatech FIT455 and so my presentation today is about not only about 2 European projects, 2 Horizon 2020 project, but more. I ask you to consider what we are doing in this project, and so the result of this project is more important, of course, than the project themselves. And these are it's a twofold intent of 2 different European Horizon 2020 projects from different cores, named Metabuilding and Metabuilding Labs. And I am the project coordinator of both projects. So Metabuilding and Metabuilding Labs, as I said before, 2 different projects, 1 ecosystem, 1 digital platform, and 1 open innovation testbed. And I will try to present. Sometimes it can get a little bit complicated because I will be talking about both projects at the same time, but I hope I will be able to focus and so be clear on this. So these 2 projects share the same share an ecosystem, and as a main driver, we are working with a concept which is innovation ecosystems, and so we are applying this concept in both projects, and so we are working with the innovation ecosystem of the construction sector, and we're trying to build it and to consolidate it. And in this action, we are really in line with what ECTP is doing. And the second driver will be SMEs. So SMEs is, as you know, 94% of construction companies are SMEs, and most of them are less than 10 people, so 10 workers. So this is the biggest part, the biggest share of companies in the construction sector are SMEs. They produce 80% of the output, so they deserve attention, and they deserve also to be at the center of the innovation ecosystem and get help, get support. So Metabuilding is a 3 years project with 15 European partners, 5 million euros grant, and we, as every InnoSub project, you get funding. You get funding in order to give it to SMEs directly, and this is called cascade funding. And so we will be implementing cascade funding for companies, SMEs from the construction sector and 4 other industrial sector that work with construction in this first project. So the second one is Metabuilding Labs, and this time it's a 5 years Horizon 2020 project with 40 European partners and 15 million euros grant. It's important to notice that these 40 European partners, more than half of them are ECTP members. So the idea here is to build a network of testing facilities. So this, of course, it's an answer to a topic of open innovation testbed that you probably know has been implemented in Europe for other industrial sectors. So this is the OITB for the construction sector, and the main topic is building envelope. So we are going to establish, we are already doing it, the project has started this year. So here you see most implementation, most locations in Europe, and we are going to settle this network of not only testing facilities, but also services to innovation. So it happens that Metabuilding result are the basis in several ways, are the basis for Metabuilding Labs. So one important thing we are doing in Metabuilding is that we provide a backbone, a digital backbone, as part of the project in order to manage not only the funding, but also the creation of the ecosystem, the activation of an innovation ecosystem. So this Metabuilding platform will be passed on to Metabuilding. Metabuilding Labs will use the digital platform, open innovation platform, in order to be a kind of virtual single entry point of the open innovation testbed, so the backbone of it, and there will be an association created in order to manage the open innovation testbed. And if this seems complicated, it's because it is. And so I prepared this slide in order to have a view on it. So we have here, we have 2 independent projects, as I mentioned before. We have also Metabuilding Association, which will be created in Brussels and will help to manage the open innovation testbed, so the business network of testing facilities and service provider. And we have also metabuilding.com, which is the open innovation digital platform.
4 minutes remaining. Just
yeah. So we are doing meta-clustering. We have a proactive approach in order to activate this ecosystem. And so this is an example where we are doing this for all the countries in both projects. So here you have a snapshot of a mapping of actors in the French innovation ecosystem. So here we have the target countries in the first project and 7 other countries in Metabuilding labs, and all of them will constitute the innovation ecosystem of Metabuilding. With another intent is to help creating national construction technology platform in those target countries, because we believe this is a way of activating the communication and create critical mass. So we have also a specific communication plan and dissemination strategy that include participation of everyone and in a kind of relaying the information until the very last value chain institutions and the value chains, which are SMEs in the local clusters. So this is what the platform is looking like. We are working. We are building the platform. So the platform is operation in some of its modules, basically the ones that help managing the funding calls, because we are using calls for projects for application in order to get the funding onto SMEs. So this platform, the intent is that this is the backbone of the whole construction sector ecosystem, and everyone should be able to find something interesting in this platform. So there will be a massive affiliation campaign when we are ready. Now the platform is in construction, is under construction. And what you see here is different modules we will be having. And one of these modules will be test your innovation. And this will be the virtual entry point to the world of testing innovation of the infrastructure, which is represented in Metabuilding Labs. And Metabuilding Labs, as I said before, we have more than 100 testing facilities across 12 European countries. So these will be laboratories, test benches, pilot buildings, living labs, and all this network will be at the service of all innovation stakeholders, but basically and notably to SMEs that are often have less tools to innovate and to get access to this kind of facilities.
In 2 minutes, Chairman. Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay. So these are our calls. So perhaps you are interested in and some SMEs from your ecosystem can. So we have an opening and call open, and we have 3 different calls. So seed, grow, and harvest. And the difference is seed is our innovation voucher, basically. Grow and harvest are collaborative projects with 2 SMEs at least, and the difference in it is that the different TRL scales. These are the different sectors involved in the intent. So we have additive manufacturing, nature-based solutions, the digital industry, and the recycling industry involved in the target countries. What activities we can pay? Well, different activities related to the different TRLs of the proposal. And then you can be, and I have just two slides remaining. I know many of you are from RTOs or university labs or innovation consultancies. So you can participate in this. You cannot participate directly, but you can be service provider to the SMEs. So the SMEs get funding, and with this funding, they can, if you become their service provider, they can pay you for the services they need. So if you're an RTO, university, or consultancy, you can become an innovation stakeholder group, and then if you become one innovation stakeholder group, you can act as a consultant for these projects. And this is the last one. So what else is for you? So if you become an innovation stakeholder, I already explained. Visibility for your project result. Of course, we will be having a module, find innovative technologies. So technologies coming from past European projects that haven't reached the market. They can be, we are preparing a database of which we call industrial commons. So not not in the market assets created with European funding can be the object of new projects or new development by different partners, which is basic with open innovation. So we will have this in our platform. And also we will have a matchmaking module, which will be very useful to find partners to further project, collaborations, etc. So these are things. So stay tuned, please, because this is evolving. So if you want more information, please take a look at metabuilding.com. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jermaine, and perfectly on time. Thanks for that. So this is interesting because it's a platform available to everyone in the audience, and we hope that you can benefit from that information. The last talk will be from Ed Loskos at IDP for the Building Digital Twin Association. Ed, take us away. See if you can share your screen, and otherwise I can share if you have a problem.
Thank you, Thomas. Let me see if that works. I suppose it does.
It does.
Perfect. So since I'm the last one, I'm trying to go as quick as possible. First of all, I'd like to give you my thanks to Tom and all the people, which is organizing Sustainable Places to allow us to be here. And so let's go to the point. So what is the Building Digital Twin Association? We are a nonprofit created in Antwerp during last year, and with the vision to allow the coordination of multi-criteria efficient decision-taking across all IECO stakeholders by digitally duplicating EU building stock. I know that this is complicated. Probably we had a lot of discussions about that, but at the end, what is clear is that our mission is that we will get an European building digital twin point of view of our buildings, of all the building stock. That's our guiding principles, okay? So at the end, all the building digital twins should be open, ethical, reliable. The circularity point of view should be in the roots of any building digital twin, and as well as the climate goals that has been mentioned in previous presentations. But at the end, I think the sixth is also really important, okay? As it happened with BIM, okay, we have to find the economic worth, okay, when we are doing this extra effort in digitalization. Which are the origins of the BDTA? The origins of the BDTA becomes with the first European project talking about the building digital twins, which is this project, the Sphere. Actually, in October we will be starting our last year. Okay, and the idea was from the beginning to create a building digital twin environment, okay, and using a platform as a service that will allow us to connect all the stakeholders, all the relevant stakeholders across the life cycle. I think it's important to mention, okay, that all a building digital twin or any digital twin is a product lifecycle management. Okay, so it has to allow us to manage the life cycle of any smart and connected entity, real entity. In this case, it's buildings. Okay, so that was the Sphere consortium, where it appears a new actor, which is the BDTA. Okay, a new partner. These are the strategic axes. Okay, at the end, it's to create a community that will allow us to share, okay, the knowledge that we have been developing inside of the Sphere project, but also in other sister projects coming from similar topics or even new ones, okay, in terms of providing this community, this background that will allow to find new definitions, new roles, open technologies that will allow us to underpin future European projects or even future private initiatives, like it might be an open building digital twin API, an open ontology network. I will discuss this afterwards, okay? But also at the end, which is really important, is the creation of this building digital twin community that will allow us to discuss. To structure all this, we have been creating in the last months. At the end, we are a young organization. we have been creating these four working groups. The first is focusing on definitions and roles. The second is to provide open technology, an open technology framework that will, as I told before, underpin future initiatives. The third is the vertical digital twin aggregates. I will discuss about the term afterwards. And the fourth is a building lifecycle management simulation or real-time simulation. So in terms of providing a bit of example of where we are right now in the working group 1, okay, with the building digital twin environment definitions and roles, we already publish. If you follow this QR code, you will be able to download the first white paper, which was released at the end of 2019, where we were using the definitions launched 20 years ago by Michael Greaves with the taxonomy of the digital twins, and we tried to generate a state-of-the-art of what was happening in BIM world, in AECO world, and in digital twins world. So we will be able to generate our own definitions. Okay, so at the end, when we are talking about a building digital twin prototype instance, an aggregate, or an environment, that it will be a specific definition coupled with the reality of construction sector, and as well will be deeply linked or intertwined with the BIM current ISOs. Okay, so, and again, another part that we were discussing under the project and we launched in this white paper, okay, was the creation of new roles. Okay, as somebody told me from a manufacturing industry, you can automatize everything up to get to bankruptcy. Okay, so at the end, from our point of view, from the BDTA, this is an official point of view, is we need new persons, new roles with different skills that we have right now, okay, that will allow us, okay, to generate these building digital twins. And actually, this is what we are nowadays testing in the Sphere project in the last year. Thank you. We are developing training guidelines, okay, and I'm really proud of this. We are trying to generate, okay, a working group for building digital twins inside of the technical committee of the BIM. Not sure yet. This is something that obviously we are going to work with AENOR with UNE from Spain, okay. The working group 2, okay, is the framework. This is the ontology network that we are working with inside of the Sphere. But I think it's really important to show you this, because this is going to be in a couple of weeks in Luxembourg. Okay, it's an event co-organized with the ECTP. Thanks in part of Alain. So merci beaucoup, Alain. But I think it's really important because all the sister projects that has been developing so far, their own ontologies or their specialized ontologies, like might be BIM Speed, BIM for EV, BIM for Reno, BIM Air. We want to get all the specialists in the same place and trying to get at least a common understanding, okay, of what the rest are doing and how we can create an ontology network for the building digital twin of the future, okay. And actually new projects are going to be there. The working group 3 actually is the vertical aggregation, how we can create aggregated digital twins based on buildings, but obviously buildings are a hinge that could help to link the cities with appliances, with other manufacturing. And the fourth, for me, is the most important in terms of providing the first economical value that we were talking. Okay, at the end, it's really important to get these real-time simulations, this software in the loop, dynamic baselines, okay, and help to create standardized simbots that will allow us, okay, to get an easy simulation across the building life cycles, okay? And actually, the next white paper is going to be the building digital twin across these life cycles, okay? And actually, in October, we are going to release or to publish, okay, a small technical insight talking about this and how can help into reducing the investment risk, okay? And the white paper, thank you. I expect to do it by the end of this year. So just to end, I think it's important to mention that we are already organized our first Congress, the first Building Digital Twin International Congress. We are expecting to do the next one in May. I'm really proud to say that we had more than 500 registries, so it was a successful number for sure, okay, at least for us. So if you want to be part of our community, please contact us, okay, and we are here to help. At the end, this is something for all of us. So thank you so much, and again, thank you so much, Tom and organization, for let us to present this. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Perfectly on time, and a great validation for the BDTA. We just had a construction company out of Italy join a construction major that does not get involved in European research because they see value in the information available on this platform, and they know they need to innovate, so that it's nothing to do with European research. They want to be involved. So this is a great validation for that. So congratulations, Ed. Thank you to all of our speakers. Thanks for everyone that's joined this opening ceremony, and an even greater thanks for all of the workshops that are about to happen over the next days. We'll be sending out messages on Hopin. The overview agenda points to everything in the conference, and if you have any questions, just write sustainableplaces@r2msolution.com, and we'll get right back to you. So thank you once again, and have a great rest of the day. We'll close this session.
Bye.
Thank you very much.